Ollaanko livenä? Näetkö sieltä ruudusta? Okei, me ollaan livenä. Morjes, morjes. Tänään on vähän tämmönen erilaisempi lähet. Vittu, nyt tää heti lähti mun kone vittuilee mulle. No, normaalia. Tää on mun ensimmäinen kerta, kun mä yksinäni teen tän tekniset jutut, että mulla ei ole tällä kertaa mitään assaria tuossa jeesaamassa, että jos joku menee vituilleen, niin se menee vituilleen. Ja tää on tosiaan vähän erilaisempi. This is going to be a bilingual show. I have a special guest who is an immigrant here in Finland, and well, let's just say that her English is better than her Finnish. So we are at least in the beginning going to speak English. And well, if she feels like it, then we can change to Finnish language. But anyway, koitetaan pitää kuitenkin chatti siistinä, koska tänään noilla modeilla on bännisormi sen verran herkkänä, että jos siellä vittuillaan mun vieraalle tai vierasta tai mullekin, mä oon herkkä hipiäinen, niin se on jäähyn kautta sitten punaisia kortteja, koska mua jänskättää kuitenkin ihan tarpeeksi jo se, että mulla ei ole ketään assaria tässä niin kuin jeesaamassa teknisten laitteiden kanssa. Mutta mennään asiaan. So let's get down to business. Here is my special guest from Helsinki, Finland, Pamela. Let's see. How are you doing, Pamela?
Fine, thank you. Moikka, päivä.
Yeah, so you're an immigrant here in Finland, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Would you like to tell us where you're from?
I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, but prior to moving to Finland, I lived in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah. And what exactly made you come to Finland? I mean, this is not like the most usual place people from United States actually move.
Well, it's the usual story. I'm married to a Finn now, so a Finnish man brought me here.
Okay, and you met this Finnish lad in the States, or did you come all the way to Finland to find love?
No, we met on a fan forum for the Colorado Avalanche. That's the ice hockey team in Denver, Colorado.
Well, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Colorado Avalanche is because like the Finnish players have been playing in there. So that's pretty much the only thing we know about Colorado. Well, of course, we do know South Park and South Park's in Colorado. But like anything else, I wouldn't know. I mean, until this morning, I thought that Colorado is the place where Grand Canyon is. But then I wanted to check some facts in order not to make an ass out of myself, and I realized that Grand Canyon is not in there.
No, it's mostly in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm glad I checked it. It would have been like sucked that people would be like in the chat saying that, Carlos, what are you dumbass? It's in Arizona. But no, I didn't have to take the bullet. So anyways.
No, Colorado to the west is the Rocky Mountains, and to the east is mostly desert and prairie lands.
Okay. And let's talk about this immigration process you had there. Like how difficult it was to get in here. I mean, I'm not talking about, you just take a plane from Denver International to Helsinki International, but I'm talking about bureaucracy and shit.
Well, back then in 2007, it wasn't as bad as it is now, because back then the police handled it. And also I moved to a very small town called Kemi. And Kemi's only like 23,000 people, so they didn't have as much of a line waiting for residence permit papers. And prior to my arrival, I had all my paperwork in order. And my husband and I, back then, we had everything documented and apostilled, and we knew exactly what I needed. And then I came here, and it was just a matter of a few weeks in Kemi, because Kemi's so small, and the police handled it, and they handled it wonderfully. We didn't have any problems whatsoever.
That sounds like an easy way to get here. But what about bureaucracy in the States? You had to do some work, fill some papers in there. Did it seem hard, or was it just piece of
Yeah,
cake?
the hardest part was getting all my documents apostilled. And that's different from having a notary doing it, because apostilled is like internationally recognized. And I had to get documents from California, Colorado, and a couple other places. And it was difficult for some counties in California, but it was easier in Colorado because obviously I lived there. It was easier for me to get access. And also, California had these fancy papers and all this, fancy writing, and Colorado's is more plain. And when I got here, oddly enough, the magistrate looked at my Colorado papers and he was like, this doesn't look real, because it was plain and it didn't have any fancy calligraphy or anything. And he says, this doesn't look real. And I'm going, well, it is. So that was about the only problem we had. But one thing we did do is we got married in the magistrates before we got married in the church, because of my legal status when I came.
Was that here in Finland or in States?
No, we married in Finland, and that made it much easier for me to get my residence permit, since we got married here. If we got married in the United States, we would have had a lot more paperwork and a lot more problems coming in. But since we got married here, it was a lot easier. But the Church of Finland at the time, since I wasn't a member, they wanted me to get married in the magistrate's office first before we had the religious ceremony, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it totally does, because my brother, he's married to a Cuban lady, and they got married in the magistrate's office. And then there was this church ceremony in which they were kind of blessed. So they weren't kind of married officially in there because they were married, but the church gave them their blessing. And that must have been the same with you guys. So basically, because you were married already before entering.
Yeah, so, that's exactly
you know what I'm saying.
It's funny, when we got married at the magistrates, neither one of us dressed up. We're just both in our t-shirts and jeans. And my mother-in-law, we have a few pictures, and my mother-in-law said we look like a Russian couple on our lunch break.
Well, we have a chat here. We have a chat here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. This Latuska69 is asking if you don't speak any Savo dialect, because he can't understand shit. But I guess your Savo accent is kind of rusty right now. Savo is somewhere in the Eastern Finnish. Even Finnish people can't understand it. So Latuska, I'm sorry, so I don't think Pamela will be speaking any Savo today. And Lisa Ihmemaasa is asking if I could some of these things up into those who don't understand London. Okay. Well, I could, but I won't. There's actually a button in those settings where you can get this subtitles going, that YouTube is kind of guessing what we are saying and putting it in English. So. Mm-hmm. I will try to speak a little bit. You might want to try that if it's easier to follow that way. But yeah, you do have to remember that most of my viewers, they are not native speakers in English language, and neither am I. That's why I'm not listening to your answers. I'm just looking for the next question, because I don't need to understand, because I can always look this again twice or thrice after this. I just have to note and try to laugh at and I'm sorry. I got the joke. So
I will try to speak a little bit slower too, as normal. When I'm trying to speak Finnish and trying to listen to a Finnish person, melkein kaikki suomalaiset puhuu liian nopeasti. Jos suomalaiset puhuu nopeasti, minä en ymmärrä. So, and also,
Markku, I'm removing your comment. I don't want foul language here.
okay.
Yeah, please proceed.
A lot of Finnish people speak very, very, very fast. And I can't understand it when they speak fast. And when I speak English, I also speak very fast. So I have to remember when I'm speaking English here that I need to speak slower for a lot of people to understand. And a lot of times when a Finn starts speaking Finnish, I have to ask them to speak slowly. I say, anteeksi, puhu no hidasti. Because I say, sinä puhut nopeasti, minä en ymmärrä.
And in our chat, Ninnu85 is saying that you sound understandable enough. So you're doing a good job. And this comment I had to remove was that this guy was like, who was that? Doesn't look like a darkie, although the title says it's a darkie. No, the title says it's an immigrant. It's mamu, maahanmuuttaja, not maku. So I think like half of these people were expecting to have like a 17-year Afghan boy with a kilo of gel in their head and like I mean, come on, you're an immigrant.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. Now everybody's disappointed because there's no camel humpers in here.
You would be surprised there are a lot of Americans here in Finland. A lot.
Yeah, but
I think there's
normally people
I think there's something like 600 Americans in Finland. I'm not sure, but I think that's the figure.
And you're still American, right? You don't have Finnish passport.
No, I'm thinking about that. I'm kind of weighing my options if it would be beneficial for me or not. I mean, the only reason why I would probably do that is if we bought a house. That would be one reason for me to change it. But it's kind of not really, how do I say, it's not really a good idea to have dual citizenship when you were born an American first. Because if I had a Finnish passport, when I travel, I still have to use my American passport, because when you're an American, you have to use your American one first if you were born in America. So it wouldn't be beneficial to me at this point, but someday I would think about doing that strongly. And because we're not having any kids, that would be another reason for me to become a Finnish citizen. But we're not going to be having children, so that rules that out.
Oh, I didn't know that, because like when my sister-in-law, who is Cuban, she has Cuban nationality and she has Finnish passport. When she's going to Cuba, she's always using her Cuban passport, so it's easier for her. But when she's coming back to Finland, she shows her Finnish passport.
Different. If it's different for an American.
Okay, Cubans are Americans as well. North Americans.
Well, they're not.
No, I know American people of the United States.
Also, I have to clarify also, Americans can also be Canadians, but I should say United States citizenship. So I should say that instead.
Can you be both American and Finnish citizen? Is asked in the chat.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so
but for travel purposes, you're not allowed to use your Finnish passport. You're supposed to use your American passport.
If you travel back to the States to visit your friends in Denver, Colorado, and then you have this Finnish passport in your other pocket, wouldn't it be easier to come back to Finland? When you come back to Finland, you wouldn't have to have like sign any papers or visa waivers or anything, but you just show them that you're Finnish? Or is it like you have to, although you have the Finnish passport, you will have to present your American passport to those border control dudes?
Well, I think I would have to, I'm not sure about that. I would have to check. I have one friend who was a dual citizen, and I'm not sure exactly how that works. I would have to ask him. But I know for the purposes of going back to America, I would have to use my USA passport.
Okay,
I
but
know that for sure.
then again, you don't have that Finnish passport yet, so this is
No,
purely
so that point is
hypothetical. So
yeah,
it
that
doesn't really
point
matter.
is moot, so I wouldn't have to, use that. So, but when I do travel to the United States and I come back to Finland, I have my normal American passport with my residence card with me at all times. Because when I get back, I just show them my residence card and my passport. They wave you through, no problems.
And
But lately with COVID, that's not possible.
yeah, nothing seems to be possible nowadays, but just to stay home, wear that face mask, and not touch anybody. Remember to wash your hands, and everything. Every corpse there is, everybody who's dying is because of Donald Trump. Those are the things we have to keep in mind.
Orange man bad.
Exactly. Hei chatti, jos te haluatte, niin täällä on nyt semmoinen, niin kuin, että nyt voi kyllä osallistua keskusteluun, että luemme kyllä chattia. I was just telling them that this is an interactive broadcast, so if somebody wants to ask something in that chat, like something else, but what do they call a Big Mac in Paris? But like questions that make some sense at least, then do feel welcome to join the chat. And well, both languages will do. I understand Finnish and some English, so I can translate them to Pamela, and Pamela understands some Finnish and all the questions asked in American language. So it doesn't matter as long as you don't ask them in Spanish. I mean, my Spanish kind of rusty. I don't know, Pamela. There are lots of Spanish people, like from Latin America, living in the States illegally and legally. So how's your Spanish?
I took 5 years of it in school.
Okay,
and
so you
being from Los Angeles, California, and growing up there, you have to know Spanish. It's just something you need to do. It's more beneficial because it's easier to do the job. I just haven't used it. I've been in Finland for 13 and a half years, and I haven't used my Spanish since I've been here. And I've forgotten a lot of it.
But it kind of makes sense that you gotta speak Spanish in California, because as we all know, California used to be a part of Mexico. You didn't know that?
Yeah. Yes.
I read that in Wikipedia this morning when I was getting ready for this. So it's not common knowledge, Ninu85 is saying, I was about to ask about Trump, but her opinion pretty much is now pretty much clear about Trump. So now you have been seen as a Trump supporter. Is that a harsh word? Is that exaggerating? Or
I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm not blind to his faults. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about him, but I have to weigh the options. And for all the things that I care about, he qualifies for. The biggest thing is no wars. He's not started any new wars. And he's trying to get our troops home. A lot of liberals that I know in the United States have told me that they are voting for Trump for that reason alone. And the liberals are very upset because Obama took us from 2 wars to 7, and they are true liberals in the sense that they were anti-war during the Bush years, and they were anti-war during the Obama years, and they're still anti-war. So those are the liberals I know back home. And those are some of the reasons I am supporting him. I'm also supporting him for the fact of he did a great job on the economy. And I think that's a very big plus. And also tax cuts. Yeah, sure, a lot of rich people benefited from the tax cuts, but I also benefited from the tax cuts. A lot of people are unaware that when you're an American and you live abroad, you still have to pay United States federal taxes, and you still have to file. And because of that, because of Donald Trump, for the first time in a while, even though there are tax treaties with Finland, I did not owe taxes. This is the first time in a long time. So this is very beneficial to me. And I know a lot of people who saved a lot of money that way. I am not blind to Trump's faults, that he is brash and he's boorish and he says things that he shouldn't say. And a lot of times I wish he wouldn't use Twitter very much. I wish he would kind of restrain himself. I'm not blind to his faults, but I do support him and I do think he is doing a good job.
So what you are basically saying that Orange Man not bad to the bones.
Orange bad, skin deep bad, but not to the bone.
Okay, in our chat, Liisa Ihmemaassa, which is Finnish and means Alice in Wonderland, if you remember this. Was it Lewis Carroll who wrote it? Can't remember.
Yes, I know the story.
Well, she has to go to the grocery store, so I'll see you in a bit, Liisa. And then, since we started speaking about these presidential elections, this nickname Haavi Auki is asking, what do you think about Hunter Biden, or have you heard anything about that? Hunter Biden.
Yes,
candidate
Joe
Biden.
Biden. Yeah, Hunter Biden is Joe's son. Hunter Biden has gotten himself into some trouble with his laptop. Apparently, he left his laptop at a computer repair store, and their policy is after 45 days, the laptop belongs to the computer repair shop. And they went in and looked at it, and reportedly they shipped it to the FBI, or they wanted to give it to the FBI, but Rudy Giuliani got a hold of it somehow. And there's a lot of controversy of what's on the laptop, and also about Chinese dealings with Hunter and Joe Biden. So there's a lot, I think, is going to come out very soon that will be very enlightening. And I'm anxious to find out what that is.
But does it really affect Joe Biden's campaign that his son is like fucking around there, like using meth allegedly, banging minors allegedly? Like his father didn't do any of that. He's just sniffing little girls' hair.
You're right.
So,
you're right. His father didn't do any of those things. His father's not responsible for Hunter's drug problems. His father's not responsible for his son's, dalliances or problems. But there are reports of kind of shady dealings between China and Joe, allegedly. So we will see in the coming days what comes out, but there's a lot of things that are going to probably be investigated.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But if we go back to this this thing why you came here for a while, we can go back to Trump or Biden anytime.
Okay.
I was about to ask you, coming to Finland, how big of a culture shock was it to you?
I thought I was prepared, but I wasn't. No, especially coming from Denver, Colorado, which the Denver metro population is 2.5 million people. Coming from there to moving to Kemi, Finland was 23,000 people. And in Denver, there was always a lot to do. I was never bored. And the weather was great, sunshine all the time. But Kemi, oh boy. Kemi was a big problem, and I got seriously depressed, and I got very sick, and I ended up spending about a year and a half trying to get well. So, and the medical situation in Kemi was not all that great. Then my husband got a studying position in Vasa, so we moved to Vasa. And I was so happy. I was like, thank God. Sorry. Thank you, Kemi, for my husband's grandparents. Thank you, Kemi, for Sonata Arctica. Those kind of things. And I like visiting there, because the family's there, and that's fine to visit. But I liked Vasa much, much better. Vasa is really cool. And Vasa was completely different because, as you know, Vasa's more Swedish. And the attitudes of the Swedish are more happy. I would say hi to them on the streets. They would say hello back. And that was really nice.
Is that something that Finnish-speaking people wouldn't do?
You would say hello to people on the streets, and they would kind of look at you like, do I know you? Where do I know you from? Why are you saying hello to me? But after a while with Finnish people, once you get past their reservedness, they're very, very friendly. You just have to be a little bit more gentle with them. You can't be, oh, hi! I mean, not like I am in the USA. In the USA, you see on the streets, you go, hello, and you don't do that here. You would say, moikka, very reserved tones, and then they would be more receptive.
Yeah, never ever say hello to a person you don't know on the street. Okay, you can say hi to a bartender or the store clerk, but that's not even something that people expect you to do. It's polite to say.
In my opinion, you always say hello to the bartender, because the bartender might treat you a little better and might make you.
Yeah, I know that you know that, but in Finland, I used to work as a bartender, and I would say hello, of course, because I'm paid for that. I'm paid that I'm friendly to them, so it's part of my job. But I wasn't like offended if they, instead of saying hello back, they would just go, "Buy the beer," and I'm like, "Okay, that would be €5." And that's like normal here.
One of the hardest things to adjust to in Finland is this is really crazy, but in English we have the word please, but there's no word for please in Finnish. So I would order something in a restaurant and I'd want to say please, but there's no please. What do I say for please? There's no please words. And that was the hardest habit to break. So I just ordered whatever I ordered. I would say otan olutta, and I would say kiitos. So that was a habit I had to get into when I ordered something. Otan olutta, kiitos. So, otan kahvia, kiitos, instead of saying please. Sometimes I would say otan kahvia, and I'd want to say please. No words. And also the Finnish language, there's no future tense, and that was hard to get used to. Like there's no way to say I will go to the store, but in Finnish there's context. So if you say I'm going to the store, menen kaupan huomenna. So you have to add when you're going to the store to indicate future. So that was hard for me to get used to.
Well, there is one word you can use, meinaan mennä kauppaan, which is like meinaan, I'm planning on going to the store. But like you said earlier, it can be understood from the context. So it doesn't really matter. And about the please word, when I have been traveling in the UK, people have told me that Finnish people actually, when they are traveling there, they sound like really rude. And that's because we don't have that please, thank you, could I, may I, please culture. So they just say what they can, and since they don't add the please, all the bartenders are like, no, there's a cocky motherfucker in there. I was spitting his beer.
If you say sai cinco, they look at you like you're crazy. So
Yeah, it's like you can say that and it's polite, but it sounds like
yeah.
really posh. That's an English word. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if Americans use the word posh.
And the Finnish language is very, very hard for an English speaker to learn. A lot of the changes, like the ko to koko and pe te the ve, when you say kenka kengat, those are difficult for me to remember when I'm supposed to use them.
Hmm. Oh, Ninnu said earlier that she's happy for you that you found a place where you are happy here in Finland. But Ninnu, if I understood correctly, you don't live in Vaasa anymore.
No, I live in Helsinki now.
Uh, are you happy in Helsinki?
Yeah, I am. We lived in Espoo before we lived in Helsinki, so I knew the area. And I like it here because there's more to do. And also there are more Americans, so there's more people for me to talk to. And there was a couple Americans in Vaasa. I think there were like 3 of us total. But when I moved to Helsinki, I met a lot more Americans, Australians, Britons. I met a lot more people, and I'm a part of a lot more groups here. And also, getting a job here was much easier. So I'm happy here.
Well, I mean, I can imagine if there's like nobody in Kemi who speaks English, excluding husband, of course, then it's gets kind of boring and lonely. But Helsinki, well, we like to call it a metropolitan, totally international, big city, big ass city.
It is a big
But
city.
like in
It's just
one borough in Denver, there are even more people living in there.
it is a big city. It's just a small big city. It's not like Los Angeles, which is like 10 million people. And that's twice the population of Finland. So it's not like the Denver metro area, which is a population of 2.5 million people. But it is a contrast between Vaasa and Kemi, that's for sure.
Yeah. And have you noticed? I have kind of noticed. I told you when we were like sending messages to each other in where else but Messenger, of course,
Yes.
that I have noticed that Finnish people might have this inferiority complex, alemuskomplexi. Have you noticed that?
What do you mean by inferiority complex?
I mean that every time something bad happens here in Finland, we are constantly thinking, what will they think about us globally now? Are the BBC and CNN going to report that our prime minister got sacked or something bad happened, school shootings,
Uh,
or we had like the other weekend we had these cops spraying at this extinction
mm,
rebel movement. Oh my god, what will they think about us in the big world now? Will they think Finland sucks? That kind of things. Keep
I,
on
I
thinking about.
I remember the time when they said the government collapsed because of the healthcare system, something around that, or the government collapsed, and like, no, we're doing fine. And from my perspective, bad things happen all over the world to various countries, and it's just another thing that a country has to overcome. And I have to reassure my friends and family back home when they hear bad things about Finland. I go, no, that's kind of overblown. It's just fine. Tomorrow's another day. We're all gonna wake up, go to work, go to school, do our thing. Nothing's changed.
So basically, your friends back in the States, they wouldn't even give a flying fuck about things happening in Finland unless you were living in here, right?
True, and they're more concerned with their own lives.
Exactly.
They're concerned with, paying their bills, clothing their kids, putting food on the table. That's what they're concerned with. They're not really thinking, oh gosh, what's happening in Finland? But if something does happen in Finland, they'll contact me like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, no problem.
Yeah, but if I went to Denver and I met on the street, I met an average Joe, not one of your acquaintances, but just an average Joe, and I asked him about how he feels that there were like Finnish cross-country skiers who got caught from using illegal substances. How do you think about that? Would they give a fuck?
Well, first of all, they have to figure out where Finland is to begin with.
That's my girl. Like,
you would be surprised. You go on these shows. They have these shows like they ask you questions. They go, "Can you find this country on a map?" Or what is this country? And a lot of people, they're like, no, they get the answers wrong. I mean, a lot of people on the street, if you ask them out of the blue, about Finland, and they're just like, where's Finland? And they have to think about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you used to live in Colorado for quite a while, right?
Yes.
8 Colorado.
Years.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Colorado, they have 5 million people living in there. In Finland, 5.5 million. So pretty much the same size. And if you think about the land area, well, we got shitload of lakes here. Colorado doesn't, but land area is pretty much the same between Finland and Colorado. So
I think Finland is just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, but if you talk about land area, we have like thousands of lakes here. So basically, I want to ask you, my fellow Finns, what do you guys, if you are like laughing about Coloradans, they don't know shit Finland, they should know. What do you guys know about Colorado? I mean, I couldn't put it on a map. Well, I could because I checked it in the Wikipedia this morning. That where the fuck is that Colorado? That broad I'm having as a guest is from Colorado. The least I can do is know where the fuck Colorado is. But like, it's square. Yeah, and I don't know. Do you guys know anything about Colorado without like checking Wikipedia? Let's hear it, chat. What do you guys know about Colorado? Okay, Homma Hieno says it all. Nothing. I mean, people here keep thinking that we are somehow special. And Arto Kilponen is saying, if you forget about Denver, about Colorado, the Finns don't practically know anything. At least I don't. Well, you know something.
You should know. Arto should know something about Colorado.
I don't know much, but little, nothing without Wikipedia. So before you start saying that this ignorance is just because Americans are stupid, you guys gotta think that you don't know anything about Colorado. I mean, Colorado, that's a progressive place. I mean, the governor, for example, is openly homosexual guy, Democrat Jared Polis. Did you guys know it? I didn't know it till I checked the Wikipedia. And I don't think that they know who Sauli Niinistö, our president, is. And I don't think they know we have an openly homosexual minister of foreign affairs. So that's not such a big deal. We are not special in this global what would be the word?
I haven't thought about Colorado politics in a long time because I don't live there, so it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, it doesn't. I was just using this as an example. Like Finnish people think that everything we do is reflecting to everything in the world. Everybody is having their eyes watching us. What Finland?
believe me, when I
And
was
it's
growing
not
up in
like that.
yeah, believe me, when I was growing up in Los Angeles, we thought we were the center of the world.
Yeah, yeah, you guys do. Everybody thinks that the place they are living is the
And
center.
I think that's because I grew up near Hollywood. If you see in the movies, you see on the mountain it says Hollywood. I grew up on the other side of the mountain of that sign. And where I grew up, a lot of Hollywood studio people went to my school. I won't start naming names, but a lot of famous people went to my school. And we always thought we were the center of the earth. And it wasn't until I got out of there that I realized, no, we're not.
Just a sec. Ninnu, en mä luullutkaan, että sä niin kuin tarkoitit sitä sillä lailla. Ehkä mä muotoilin oman lauseeni väärin. En mä missään tapauksessa tajunnut sua väärin. And then there's this gentleman, Arto Kilponen, who says, in this scale, Helsinki equals Denver, Colorado equals Finland, USA equals European Union. So Finland and USA are practically on totally different levels.
Mm-hmm.
There
True.
we have it.
Total.
He must have had a point. You know him better than I do.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, so
for those of you
if I
who
made an
don't know,
average.
Okay, for those of you who don't, Arto Kilponen is my husband.
Oh, now you exposed it. So he's not just a random fan of mine, but he's actually the dude that brought Pamela here to Finland. He started it, and 12 years later, Pamela is performing on my talk show. So
because of Stunning and Nightwish.
What else we have here?
Let's see. Vesa Mustinen says Colorado Rockies baseball.
Baseball team.
Uh-huh.
That's all I know about that place.
Oh, the stadium where the Colorado Rockies play is in lower downtown, is what we call Lodo. And Lodo's kind of a trendy, hip neighborhood. It's really nice. A lot of great restaurants there. Fun place.
But there, I don't know if I went again. I'm walking down the streets of Denver. I'm going to a local pub. I meet an average Joe there. I start talking. What do you know about Finland? Would he recognize like our national icons like Simo Häyhä?
No.
Tuve Jansson?
No.
Sauli Koskinen?
No.
Sauli Koskinen, hey, come on. He was an ex-boyfriend of Adam Lambert. Adam Lambert is big, so they should know.
If you said Ossi Vannahan, they would know. If you said Teretulemast, they would know.
That I can understand.
If you say Jari Kurri, they would know.
They are legends.
Or Ismo Leikola nowadays, they would know.
Now they know because like all these Hollywood superstars are retweeting his videos and shit. What about Jenny Haukio? Would they know Jenny Haukio? Average Joe in a pub.
Probably not, but if you showed a picture of her, they might recognize her. They might recognize her by her face, but not her name.
First lady in Finland.
Yeah, also because when Trump came here to have that summit with Putin, there was a big deal in the United States about Sauli Niinisto and his beautiful wife. So if you would show a picture of Jenny, then they would, okay, First Lady of Finland, if you showed her a picture, but they wouldn't know her name.
Okay, Vesa Mustonen is asking me to ask for Mannerheim. So would they know who Mannerheim is?
Probably not, but my history teacher would. Oddly enough, what got me interested in Finland were two things. One, I went to school with a girl who lived in Finland in her early years. And two, my history teacher was big into Finnish history. And he knew a lot about the Winter War and Continuation War. and he talked a lot about it in our history class, and that what got me interested in Finnish and Finnish culture. And I've always been curious about it my entire life. And another thing about me is I'm part Danish and part Swedish. So I kind of felt when I got here, I felt like I kind of fit in, if that made sense.
It does. It's easy for you to immigrate here because like you are from Western civilizations and like willing to learn new things and not to stick to that old things that, hey, I'm American, I need my burger now. You can't eat that reindeer. You must give me a fucking cheeseburger.
I do love my burgers. I really love my burgers.
Yeah, all the Yankees do, but that was just an example. I mean, we don't have Hardee's or Wendy's here, so you just have to stick to McDonald's or Burger King. We have American food chains. But what's Arto saying there? I claim that not all Finnish would recognize, for example, George Washington or even Donald Trump if they're shown the picture. Lots of them, Trump, but not all of them. Not all of them.
What's that town? What's that town name in? I don't remember the town name, but it has these symbols on it. It looks like Donald Trump's hair.
Oh yeah, that's that.
I don't know the name of that city, but
Yeah, that's a municipality in Ostrobosnia. Hey, somebody in the chat, tell me what was that? that what's the word? Crest, insignia.
Yeah, insignia. It's numer something. I don't know. Oh yeah, Rennie Harlan. Yes, they would know Rennie Harlan. Oh, and another thing they would recognize, Pamela Anderson.
Do Americans really know that Pamela Anderson has Finnish heritage?
Yes, they know.
Oh my God, we should have a fucking party at the market square. That's a Finnish expression. Let's meet at the market square whenever Finland is mentioned in the news. Torilla talataan, exactly. But does the average Joe, I have been now talking for quite a while in that pub, does he know about the great achievements Finland has had? Like, does he know that Finland was the only country after the WW2 who actually paid their reparation fees? I mean, like Finland had to pay shitload of war reparation to the Soviet Union, and so did everybody else. But Finland was the only country in the world, and we are so freaking proud of that. But does the world know? Would you have known we're the only country after WW2 who took care of the war reparations?
I knew about the Winter War and the Continuation War, but I didn't know about the payments of the settlement. Because we did study about that in history, but we didn't study about how it ended in the terms that it ended with.
Ooh, so you were not told that we were the only country in the whole wide world that was able to pay those reparation fees. Oh my God, now I'm embarrassed because I thought everybody knows that. How about, does the average Joe know that PISA tests scores are the highest here in Finland?
They know.
They do?
They
Even
know.
the average Joe I met in the pub?
The average Joe will know about Finnish education system.
That is awesome.
Because they talk about it in the United States, especially in the past 6 to 7 years, they talk about it on the news frequently when it comes to education. And I think Michael Moore, I think that's what his name is, he made a documentary about Finnish education system.
Vesa Mustonen is asking about John Sibelius. I actually, in Scotland, I had this flatmate of mine. He was from America. He played violin and he played Sibelius. And he actually, before I informed him, had thought that Sibelius is from Germany. Oh, he's from Finland. Fuck yeah, dude. The same guy also used to listen to Hannah Rocks, which is a glam rock rock band from the 80s. And he was like, oh, they are really Finnish. They are Finnish as well. I was like, you're listening to Hanoi Rocks, you're playing Sibelius music, and you don't know where the fuck they come from. It's Finland, man. That's the point when I realized that maybe Finland is not that significant after all.
Well, it's interesting. One of my friends in Los Angeles, I sent her a link of Poets of the Fall, and she says, God, they're great. They're really wonderful. I've heard that song before. I go, did you know they're from Finland? And she was like really shocked, and she knows. And then I sent her a song from Sunrise Avenue, and she says, God, this is really good. How do you know this good music? I go, they're from Finland too. And then I got her started on Nightwish, and boy, that rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
And, yes. And now she goes, and then she asked me, are you part of the Nightwish army? I go, Helsinki, reporting for duty.
Yeah, that Nick Arto Kilponen is saying this is pretty normal as well. You know the fact, but you can't connect it right, like Sibelius from Germany, Grand Canyon from Colorado, etc., etc. That is true. You know something, but you haven't bothered to find out the details. I mean, I do that a lot. I mean, I know a great band, but I just listen to their music. I don't give a fuck where they are from, and if they sing in foreign language, which I can understand, I don't give a rat's ass if they are singing about pussy or world peace, because I just like music, and I'm too lazy to find out. But but yeah, people back in the days, they were playing lots of these Angry Birds. Have you heard about Angry Birds?
Oh, okay. Yes, they will know Angry Birds in the United States for sure. Two things they will know for sure: Nokia and Angry Birds. They will know those things for sure.
Do they know that both of these cultural icons are from Finland?
Yes, they will know that.
They would actually know that Angry Birds is Finnish?
Yes,
Wow.
they will know that.
How about Denver? Denver is an ice hockey city.
Denver is a sports city, not just an ice hockey
city. Okay, but you have this one ice hockey team as well. You have Broncos, you have them all. But I just read in the interwebs that ice skates were actually invented in Finland 5,000 years ago.
Probably. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, but if it's in Wikipedia, it must be true. No, sorry, it wasn't in Wikipedia. It was something like 15 funny facts you gotta know about Finland, or something like 15 innovations from Finland. Not that ice skates are an innovation anymore, but still.
Yeah.
It might be true, it might be false, but
Denver and the Colorado area is a huge sports city and sports state. We have Major League Soccer, we have lacrosse, which is my favorite. I love lacrosse. And we have baseball, of course, we have soccer, we have football, we have 2 or 3 ice hockey teams, including the Colorado Eagles. Yes, Colorado Eagles.
Yeah, but that's the AHL team.
Yeah, but my favorite team is the Colorado Mammoth, and they're the indoor lacrosse team. I love, love, love lacrosse, and I miss lacrosse so much. And we have floorball here, salibandi, which I really like a lot. It's an exciting game, but it doesn't replace lacrosse. Lacrosse is just incredible.
Osaako chatti sanoa, että pelataanko Suomessa lacrosse, eli haavipalloa? Sulla on vittu haavi ja sä ravaat jonkun pallon kanssa ja sit sä heität sillä haavilla sitä. Just asking the chat members if they know if they play lacrosse here in Finland, because I haven't seen them playing here.
I think they have a couple teams here in Helsinki, but it's outdoor lacrosse. I don't think it's indoor lacrosse.
Oh, there's a difference?
Yeah, outdoor lacrosse is played in a bigger field.
Okay. I did visit La Crosse, Wisconsin back in 2003, but that doesn't really have anything to do with this. Just recognize the name.
And that's one of the things I like about Finland is because Finland is a very big sports country. And there's many different sports here to watch. I don't play sports. What do they call it? Penkkiä? When you're a sports spectator?
Sorry?
When you're in Finnish and you're just watching sports, that activity is called penkkiä.
Penkkiä.
Yeah, when you go to sports events. Arta, what is it? You would know. It's like I don't play sports, but I go watch it as a spectator.
Oh, penkkiurheilu, like
bench
sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Sportsmanship. Okay. Yeah, now I got it. Okay, and Arto and Ninu tell me that lacrosse is played in Finland, but it's not that common, not as common as ice hockey or Finnish baseball.
Pesäpallo, that's something I'm not used to either. The rules are really funny.
Well, I don't know about funniness of them, but it's still really popular in here. I mean, I used to, when I was a kid, I lived 5 years in a really, really small town or municipality called Honkajoki. There was only 1,500 people living in there. And all you could do there in the summertime, you played Finnish baseball, and in the wintertime, you went cross-country skiing. Oh my God. I'm so glad my family moved out from there when I was 8 years old. I would have fucking killed myself. Sorry about my French, honey.
It's okay.
It still gives me goosebumps when I think about it.
My husband, he follows the Esport Oilers. They're the Salibandi team in Espoo, and he's quite well known in the floorball world in Finland. And he's the Esport Oilers cheering squad of one. He's rather well known, and he writes a blog, and he's really, really good, and I'm very proud of him for his activity in the Esport Oilers. It's really cool.
Well, it's easy to be proud of because like Espoo Oilers is one of the best teams in Finland, and Finland is one of the best countries in the world. So we are like world champions in floorball.
Yes, and when we win Sweden, we're golden.
Yeah, it's basically between Finland and Sweden, but that's cool. Like, what else was I supposed to talk about? No, those were the only. Well, I only have a few keywords here. So, how do you think about politics here in Finland? What do you think about it? Is it getting crazy because these social democrats are okay? They are ruining this country and they are hated by everybody, but still people are voting them. Is that because of Finnish melancholy and unwillingness to have a change? What do you think as an outsider? Is it because of Finnish personality that we decide that we want those same motherfuckers who have been destroying our country, or are we just too scared of the change as an outsider?
I think like a lot of things, people want to be part of the club, and they want to be part of the in crowd. And I think a lot of times, a lot of Finns go with the flow, and they try to, how to say this carefully and tactfully.
Just throw it at me. You don't have to be diplomatic here.
I think a lot of times they see nationalism as bad. They don't understand that being proud of your country and proud of your Finnish heritage is something to be applauded. I think a lot of people are so into multiculturalism that they've kind of forgotten their own culture.
Hey, now we are having a special guest, if I may interrupt you. Okay, we have a special guest in our show. We have Sonny from Cleveland from America. So we are.
Hi.
Oh,
Hello.
Moikka!
Yeah, you are on a live broadcast. We are talking about Finland and how it is to be immigrant in Finland, and what do foreign people know about Finland. Sonny, what do you know about Finland if we forget metal music?
I know that it is rooted deep in Asatru culture. I think it was founded by it's named after Finn McCool, correct? From the Irish mythology, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure.
You're such a comedian, dude. But we were talking earlier that which like Finnish famous persons could an average Joe name, and I'm here to prove my point. So you're my average Joe right now. If you had to like say few famous Finns, what would those be? Tuomas Holopainen and Marko Hietala don't count because they are from Nightwish. Which Finnish persons would you recognize? Let's hear it.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Yeah, we were talking about this because Finnish people think that we are recognized everywhere globally. Everybody knows everything about Finland, but I'm trying to prove my point here that in the end we are not that special in this cosmic universe. Geez,
I appreciate Finland because of its culture. Before I ever even knew, if you go watch, before I ever knew who Nightwish was, I was always giving shout outs to the Kekkonens and the Kennanens. The Kennanens, my buddy, is from Finland, and he taught me a lot about that land and where he's from, and told me about his culture. When I was in a study of Viking culture, that's where I started to learn about Finland and all of the Norse territories and Nordic countries and Scandinavian countries. So I fell in love with Finland long before I ever knew that Nightwish even was from Finland or that they even existed.
that is so awesome. I mean, but the other average Joe just doesn't care if we leave smaller carbon footprint and save the world, right? Yeah, and most of people wouldn't know where Finland is. We talked about that earlier too. You probably would, but
right. I don't know the level of fame of Finland outside of those who already know. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I totally do. And we were talking about how Finnish people wouldn't be able to put Colorado, where Pamela is from, on the map. They wouldn't be able to put Ohio, where you are living right now, on the map. I mean, I wouldn't. So I basically think that most of my viewers wouldn't either. So
Right.
as Sonny from Cleveland just put it, we are not that special. We should be proud of our country, but we should remember that we are not the center of the world.
Vesa says on chat that we have no culture and we have cold. Yeah, we have cold, but Finland is very rich in the culture. Very, very rich.
Somebody said you have no culture in Finland. Are you? Anybody that thinks that Finland doesn't have culture obviously has never studied anything about Finland.
Well, this is a Finn, so I think he's joking.
I sure do. He earlier said that we have polar bears on the streets and we have to ski to the school in the summertime. So he's a comedian. Don't worry about him.
My friend, when I moved here, says they have polar bears. Don't they? No polar bears here. No, this is in Alaska or Canada.
Yeah. But Sonny, you are also having these shows of yours in which you are trying to bring positive energy to people. I am not bringing positive energy to people because I'm not capable of that. I'm just a melancholic Finnish guy. But on your channel, you have motivational speeches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's very good at it.
Thank you.
How often do you have those broadcasts of yours?
Every day, except Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so guys, be sure you subscribe Sonny from Cleveland, because
Thanks,
his
man.
morning shows, this famous morning brew, it's like 8 or 9 o'clock his time, but in here it's like prime time. It's like 3 or 4 p.m. So you will be
Right.
totally awake. So watch those, and even if you did watch them, because that's some good shit, man.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, man. I like to just to highlight those that are doing good in the world, man, and those that are making the world a better place. And I think that because of media, mainstream media, we're so full of negativity. We get so much negativity thrown into our faces every day that a lot of people don't get to take the time to appreciate the beauty and amazing things that happen in the world. So I got a group of people together, and we're bringing stories from around the world that are positive, happy, motivating, and inspiring. I think if we ingest that kind of goodness in our lives, it just brings more goodness to our lives.
Yeah, that's just the message I wanted Sonny to say. So
Right.
Sonny, thank you so much for
And
dropping by.
No doubt.
also,
I'll see you later on one of your shows. Have a great day.
All right, guys. Hi, Pamela.
Thanks,
We'll see you later.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sonny from Cleveland, Ohio. So it was so nice of him. I sent him a link before the show that when we were still offline, if he wants to say hi to us, because Pamela and I are both following him, and that's where I found Pamela. And he didn't come though, but now he made a surprise attack. Wow, it was such a great honor to have that distinguished gentleman in our show.
Good to
Distinguished
see you.
gentleman. Is
Good to see
that
him.
how you say it? Hmm?
Good to see him.
Oh yeah, it is. And you guys probably have the first opportunity to see him on his show on during the weekend, or those morning brews every day around 3 or 4 from Monday to Friday on Sonny from Cleveland channel. So do subscribe him. He's a wonderful, wonderful person, full of positive energy, and basically, positive energy is something this world needs right now. Don't you
Definitely.
think so, Pam?
Definitely. And also tune into his wife's channel, Just Jen. She's terrific too. She's just an amazing woman.
Yeah, so Just Jen.
Yes,
Elikkä
Just Jen.
suomeksi niin kuin just Jen. Just saying it as it said in Finnish, so people will be, it'll be easier for people to subscribe to that channel.
A wonderful
that
couple,
is-
inspirational, just a beautiful couple, and I learned so much from both of them.
they are amazing.
Yes, they are.
And I am hoping to have Sonny on my broadcast one of these days. Not sure if it's going to be next week, next month, next year, next millennium, but he'll be here on my channel at some point. We agreed on that. So wow. But
Awesome.
basically that was such a great motivational speech Sonny just gave us, that it's good to stop while we are still ahead. So thank you, Pamela. Thank you, our viewers, and keep subscribing my channel, sharing these links and shit, so we can have these broadcasts again sometime. Okay, Pamela, don't you go anywhere, but this broadcast is about to end. Now.